Where are the most dangerous places for Americans to travel? My most upvoted comment ever is about how batshit insane the State Department page is for Somalia. I love the before you travel tips about designating a hostage negotiator and leaving DNA samples so your body can be identified. Basically a really professional way of saying fuck around and find out. Everyone who commented, oh yeah, I remember that comment, I sincerely love every one of you. Reading those feels like running into an old friend. See you next time. There's an Ask Reddit about State Department travel advisories for Somalia. The U.S. State Department has a color-coded advisory system about how dangerous countries are for Americans to visit. The highest level, don't travel there for any reason, are Venezuela, Haiti, Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, North Korea, Myanmar, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Libya, Sudan, South Sudan, Somalia, Mali, and Burkina Faso.
Hey guys, much like you, I love reading people's stories on Ask Reddit. Unfortunately, there's a lot of weird middle school level, just thought experiment type hypotheticals like nice try Baskin Robbins. I don't find this compelling, so that's why I've made it my mission to trawl and crawl through Ask Reddit and find the very best content and put it in your ears. That's why I'm begging you, like and subscribe. If there's anything I can do to help you out, give you the kind of content that you crave to help you get through your workday, let me know in a comment. But please like and subscribe.
I'll never forget the time I, an American, was in Tanzania and trying to arrange passage to Madagascar via a shipping vessel. I met someone who knew someone who knew someone who could get me on the ship for very cheap. Eventually, the captain told me he would grant me passage, but warned me that if pirates boarded their ship, they would likely take me with them and hold me hostage. I didn't fully trust that the crew captain wouldn't sell me to the pirates, haha, so I never did make that trip. Amsterdam was a nice alternative though. I've been in corporate long enough to realize that those pages, although serious, were really just created to say how do we tell the person who wants to travel there they're a dumb fuck in 40 different ways, and make them realize they're going to die? You see, Americans don't like being told what to do, so they can't just say we're banning you for your own good. Instead they will write a sentence that ends in funeral wishes, etc. to make it clear that anyone who travels there is a dumb asshole and this is their way of saying we told you so. Venezuela, seriously, don't come if you're American. And if you're white, from any other country, only come if you know someone here you can trust who will accompany at all times and who has the power to move some influences if you ever get randomly targeted by the military or police. If you get targeted by criminals then there's no way to help. Our regime did a really good job at spreading powerful hate speech against Yankees and anyone who looks gringo, plus American citizens are used as hostages for exchange of political prisoners. Military will say you are spies, are trafficking or are a terrorist. I most add though most people will actually be happy to have you here and will be super kind to you. We also have a country with beautiful nature, culture and delicious food. We'd love to have you here but we'd rather not invite you to come until it's absolutely safe. I'm Kenyan, Tanzania's neighbor. Been in Tanzania as well for a few years and I tell you now you did the right thing. First of all, if anything happened neither the Tanzania nor Madagascar governments would have done shit, would have been kidnapped or worse 100%. The sea route is notorious for it. It's even possible the ship owner or someone that knows where are going tips the pirates off for a share. If you ever do go to Tanzania though, Zanzibar is a good alternative. It's not Madagascar but it's a beautiful island and I trust you'd enjoy your experience from local cuisine to the architecture and you being immersed in the culture. Also, no kidnapping on transit or pirates. Lamau. Caribou Sana, Australia is super blunt. Lamau. If, despite our advice, you decide to travel. And if you're in X despite our advice repeated multiple times for each point. Understand that you may die. If you die overseas in a do not travel destination, it's unlikely your travel insurance will cover you. Your family will be left to deal with your death. This includes organizing your funeral and bringing back your remains. Somalia isn't safe. It doesn't have an effective police force. If you're in Yemen despite our advice, leave now. Strongest warning yet. Australia doesn't negotiate with terrorists. If you're kidnapped, exercise increased caution in Antarctica due to environmental hazards posed by extreme and unpredictable weather and limited emergency services. The U.S. government is unable to provide consular services to U.S. citizens in the Antarctic region. The closest U.S. embassies consulates are in Argentina, Australia, Chile, New Zealand, and South Africa. U.S. government resources in the Antarctic region are committed to the U.S. Antarctic program, per long-standing U.S. policy. It's the hostage negotiator that gets to me. Not to mention the fact that the US has an embassy in Somalia that has evacuated its consular staff, so you need to go to Nairobi to access help with replacing your lost passport. I also like the part of this that I have italicized below. Share important documents, login information, and points of contact with loved ones so that they can manage your affairs if you are unable to return as planned to the United States. Return as planned. In a timely fashion. I may have committed some light treason. This combined with heightened stress levels among researchers due to severe isolation on research stations. Women are actually discouraged from participating in Antarctic research, though not prohibited, because isolation increases neuroticism in men and has led to spikes in sexual harassment and assaults. Correction, a female researcher told me women are not discouraged, but have to remain cautious and alert nonetheless. Other examples of extreme isolation include a doctor who knew he was losing his mental grasp that burned down a lab and nearly killed 8 other researchers when his request for an early leave was denied. The only reason the researchers didn't die was because their supply convoy happened to be scheduled to make a stop that same day. They were rescued and the doctor was subsequently fired, returned to his country, and stripped of his license. 2 Russian researchers who snapped during a game of chess and started shouting and hacking at each other with ice picks. 1 man died and the other was critically injured. A doctor that grew to hate his narcissistic team leader and intentionally pushed him off a cliff when he asked the doctor to take a picture of him next to a rare bird. A team of female researchers who had to carry hammers and travel in groups for self-defense because their male counterparts made a game of groping and feeling them whenever they made contact. When the females filed complaints about sexual harassment, their company and countries basically shrugged them off and said, "Sorry, it's not worth the money for the company to send people down for an investigation, and even if they did, your countries of origin have little to no legal jurisdiction down there. You're just gonna have to make do." Point being, that's why Antarctica has that status. It's not so much about rogue armies, high criminality, and corrupt governments. It's literally just high-strung people operating in a no man's land where it's easier to die from exposure and get away with rape and murder.
This year, like I said, I'm having a midlife crisis. I've started a YouTube channel and I'm on a big health kick. One thing that I found is very easy to eat, very easy to prepare, is I heat up chickpeas with chicken broth and tikka masala. And there are 2 schools of thought about how you should eat beans. Some people believe you should buy the dry beans and soak them, but I tried that and it was a disaster. So I buy canned beans every time. And if I'm opening like 2 cans a day to be on this diet, it is a massive pain in the ass if the can has this jagged metal edge. I'm worried if like little bits of metal are getting into my food and going to slice up my intestines. So I found this special can opener that actually opens the can in a way that is completely safe, no metal's getting in your food, and is 1,000 times better than any other can opener I've ever used. So if you wind up, opening a lot of cans for whatever reason, maybe you've got a cat or something, you must buy this can opener from my affiliate link.
I did visit Zanzibar. The red colobus monkeys were cool, but nothing compared to how I imagined seeing lemurs in the wild would be. Ha. My only advice to people in Zanzibar, if the ATM in Stonetown isn't working, don't follow a guy named Jeff to the other ATM. There isn't another ATM. And, Jeff will not want Zambian kwacha when he robs you. However, if you agree to buy several football jerseys from him, he will not harm you. Yes, this is a real story from my trip. Ha. Oh, and don't trust the taxi drivers when you want to buy a ticket to the ferry that takes you to Zanzibar. They will take you to a fake ticket place that sells you a one-way ticket, not allowing return passage. This didn't happen to me, but some of my friends. This is outrageous. Where are the armed men who come in to take the protesters away? Where are they? This kind of behavior is never tolerated in Baraqua. You shout like that, they put you in jail. Right away. No trial, no nothing. Journalists, we have a special jail for journalists. Parts of Mexico are scary as hell. I used to live in a border town where Americans went across the line for medical and dental care. It's reached the point with the drug cartel violence and kidnapping that these offices have armed security meet the Americans at the border crossing, escort them to and from the doctor office back to the border. The US doesn't either, is what I was told. When I was a diplomatic spouse in Colombia, I was instructed to strictly follow all safety protocols so I wouldn't get kidnapped by the FARC. If I was kidnapped, and held for ransom, the government would not pay the ransom. That was negotiating with terrorists. A team might be sent to rescue me, but that's actually a shitty outcome, because the time you're most likely to die in a kidnapping is during an attempted rescue. Moot point y'all, I didn't get kidnapped lol. ETA, understandably, some of y'all are getting stuck on we don't negotiate with terrorists. The point is that United States wasn't going to negotiate with terrorists for me. I was the spouse of a low-level functionary, nobody was going to pay a ransom, getting me back was not going to be a big-ass deal. She was held for 15 months in a dark room with no windows, barely any clean water and food, was sick for months with no medicine, had acute malnourishment, was raped and tortured repeatedly. They demanded 2.5 mil ransom that later lowered to 1 mil. Her family paid out the ransom and she was released and went on to a humanitarian career and wrote a book. Reminds me of a dateline I saw a while ago of a young female journalist who was looking to do some international reporting that would make her career or something like that. She went to Somalia after everyone told her not to and was kidnapped within 48 hours. She is Canadian and her name is Amanda Lindau. U.S. State Department makes a list of such places. There are currently 19 countries which the U.S. government advises you don't travel. They are Belarus, Burkina Faso, Central African Republic, Russia, Burma, Myanmar, Libya, North Korea, South Sudan, Sudan, Syria, Yemen, Afghanistan, Ukraine, Haiti, Somalia, Iraq, Venezuela, Mali, Iran. Added an R, it's actually fairly safe as long as you don't break the law and keep to the tourist areas, not like the guide will let you go anywhere else or even talk to the locals anyway. Totalitarian governments are good at maintaining order at the end of the day in one way or another. Web archive link for those that want to read while it's down. Good God, the last section. GT, as of May 2017, the city remains extremely dangerous and near suicidal for independent travelers. Armed warlords and Islamic militant factions still have a large presence in the city, and foreigners are a prime target. Do not wander the streets alone for any reason. Gunfire and random explosions are frequent. If you must venture around the city, you should be accompanied by armed and well-trained security personnel and ride in an armored vehicle. These arrangements should be made in advance through private security and tactical firms which specialize in these types of environments. Most employers and governmental bodies that might send you here are well aware of the situation on the ground and will do their best to keep you safe, but your head must be on a swivel to your surroundings. 247. Make 100 certain that any hotel accommodations that are made come with 24-hour private security, which is standard at most hotels in the city catering to foreigners. Even so, hotel bombings and suicide attacks are frequent. Basic services such as electricity are not reliable many hours of the day, and you should not drink the water under any circumstances. Food and bottled drinks sold in the city may or may not be safe to consume either. Try to get the advice of another foreigner who has been in the city before, or follow the advice of your employer. Health and consular services are either limited or non-existent. In short, if you do not have an absolutely essential reason to go to Mogadishu, do not do it. Independent travel will only get you killed, no matter how benevolent you think your intentions might be. Even if you do have a good reason, your employer or government can't make you risk your life, as even humanitarian aid workers are not safe in the city. Please do not become another statistic. You provide the country no benefit whatsoever by causing an international incident over your death or abduction, according to the State Department. Iran, Mali, Venezuela, Iraq, Somalia, Haiti, Ukraine, Afghanistan, Yemen, Syria, Sudan, South Sudan, North Korea, Libya, Burma, Russia, Belarus, Burkina Faso, and Central African Republic are all listed as do not travel.
Did you know that when you drink tea from a tea bag, especially a cheap tea bag, you are exposing yourself to microplastics greater in quantity than from any other source? Microplastics are the #1 health risk of our generation, and they will have unknown consequences on future generations. So, if you value your health, destroy your tea bags. But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy great tea. I'm going to post affiliate links for my own homebrew loose leaf tea concoction that I drink every single day. It has no microplastics, and it honestly tastes better than tea from a tea bag ever did. So be sure to click the links below and get on the loose leaf tea train to avoid poisoning yourself and your children.
Last time I checked, Burkina Faso was considered fairly safe and stable. I wonder what's happened there since then. Islamic terrorism in the last decade, and then in January 2022 a military coup, which was quickly overturned, and then another military coup in September. Too bad, I wanted to visit Burkina Faso at some point in the future. Some of the comments about the Central African Republic. If you decide to travel to Central African Republic, CAR. Draft a will and designate appropriate insurance beneficiaries and/or power of attorney. Discuss a plan with loved ones regarding care, custody of children, pets, property, belongings, non-liquid assets, collections, artwork, etc., funeral wishes, etc. Be sure to appoint one family member to serve as the point of contact with hostage takers, media, U.S. and host country government agencies, and members of Congress, if you are taken hostage or detained. Establish a proof of life protocol with your loved ones, so that if you are taken hostage, your loved ones can know specific questions and answers to ask the hostage takers to be sure that you are alive, and to rule out a hoax. Leave DNA samples with your medical provider in case it is necessary for your family to access them. Not only is independent travel essentially suicide, definitely don't drink the water, and any food or anything bottled is not considered safe either. And definitely look for a hotel with 24 hours armed security, but even then random shootings and suicide bombings are frequent. This is a little wild to me because I've traveled to Haiti. It wasn't great to begin with, but it's gotten significantly more unstable in the last 10 years. I was a little nervous going then, can't imagine going to a country that was at the top for danger now. Been to 97 countries. The vast majority of people all over the world are the same. Decent people trying to make a living and hoping things will be better for their kids. Africa, Asia, Middle East, all the same. Governments are usually the problem, not the people.
I turned 36 this year, and I decided to focus on my physical fitness, so I bought a swim club membership. The only problem was, most of the time when I go swimming, I wind up getting an ear infection. So it turns out that normal earplugs, they kind of irritate your ear canal, they don't really work, they don't keep the water out, but there is an amazing kind of earplug called Mack's Pillow Soft Silicone earplugs that, they feel great, they keep the water out 100%, they're reusable, and they don't irritate your ear canal at all, no issues. If you've ever had a severe ear infection, you don't want to experience that again. It can permanently damage your hearing if you're unlucky. So investing in these earplugs is definitely a good idea. Also, when my baby was crying later this year and I could not get to sleep, I used the same earplugs and they worked great. I was able to sleep right next to a crying baby. So be sure to click my affiliate link and purchase some of these Mack's earplugs today.